Sean Levine. Tapped Out.
That's right. Fight me like a man.
Only on the BetQL network.
You know the rules. I want a good, clean fight. When I tell you to break, I want you to step back up my command and break. Now go back to the corner and come out fighting at the bell.
Keep your hands up, bro, because I'm coming out swinging. Welcome into round two, hour number 2 of Tapped Out with Jake Noaker and my opponent, Brendan Tobin. I'm the sports machine, Sean Levine. The segment's called You Gonna Fight Me. So the 12-6 elbow rule has officially gone away in the UFC. You're gonna fight me if I say it should have never existed. It's one of the dumbest rules that I've ever heard in the history of mixed martial arts.
It's certainly a strange one. Like, of all the places you're going to have a hang-up, that was definitely always one that I found very odd. It is interesting, I guess, that they're going to allow John Jones to appeal now his lone loss and see if that can get wiped away. That's kind of cool. But no, not going to fight you on it. That was always a strange one that was on the record anyway.
I understand why you can't gouge guys' eyes and fish hook and soccer kick guys, but the 12-6 rule, I was always thinking that was just a weird one. You mentioned John Jones, the one loss, air quotes, that he has in his career. Everybody knows this, but I feel like it's worth mentioning, was because of an illegal 12-6 elbow, like you were just talking about. I don't think that they should waive that off, though. I mean, it sucks, but at the time it was a rule.
But we all know.
Now I sound like you when Charles Oliveira came in 0.01 overweight. Hey, them's the rules.
Well, no, that's what he contractually signed up for. I mean, as a champion, make weight. That it's not like cut your hair, dude. If you're about it, you're about it. Tracy Cortez did it. Cheat on the towel.
That's true.
Daniel Cormier. I don't want to hear about it, dude. People do all kinds of things to make weight. But the 12-6, no, I think because we all know, like, it was a stupid way for him to lose. Like, this is the greatest martial artist we've ever seen. But yeah, they probably won't. I mean, I don't even know if John Jones will waste his time because, like, what is the point? But I definitely would love it if they did because it's a stupid reason he lost.
And the point is that he would be undefeated otherwise. If it was another fighter that, like, even if you're GSP and you only have a couple of legitimate losses on your record, don't worry about it. But if it's a difference between being undefeated, being Khabib, like, everybody loses. So, yeah, I actually think it is worthwhile. Dana has confirmed that the winner of tonight's interim heavyweight fight between Curtis Razor Blades, you get him as a big underdog. Tom Aspinall right now is minus 400 at BetMGM. Dana says the winner takes on the winner of John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. You're going to fight me if I say I don't believe that because I think after John Jones fights Stipe Miocic, both those guys are going to retire.
Yeah, that seems to be the place everybody is leaning. I'm not going to fight you. I think the only way that it happens is if Aspinall... I don't see John Jones fighting Curtis Blades, so I just don't think that appeals to him at all. I don't think it really appeals to the masses at all. No disrespect to Curtis Blades. It'd be, obviously great if he was able to do something, but Aspinall has got to kind of drum things up because I think, we've pointed this out. I almost feel like if the young guys, if anybody's taken that mantle of next generation, he's going to fight. And this is not even next generation by age because Alex Bejeda is older, but it is by, his UFC stay being older. I think if you ask people, would you want to see John Jones fight Bejeda or fight Aspinall? I think Bejeda's probably got the catbird seat right now. So I would say Aspinall needs to have a pretty seismic performance tonight and impressive to get everybody on his side.
When you say seismic, for John Jones to go, all right, that guy is worth my time. It's worth putting my record on the line. Probably at the time, all the belts. What do you think Tom Aspinall can do? Because Vegas tells us he's going to win this fight. I'm telling you he's going to win this fight in one round. I wouldn't be surprised if he knocks him out within a minute. Honestly, I'm going to look at all those prop bets before they make the walk tonight. In your eyes, what can Aspinall do to get John Jones' attention? Because if he hasn't done it yet, I don't think you can really do it against Curtis Blades, right?
He's not only got to win, he's probably got to do something that's a little out of his character, which is be a little disrespectful on the microphone. That's really not his style. But if he can't, but that's the route that he's got to go. He's got to call, he's got to get in there. He's got to call him an old, washed up, dirty cheat whose pec doesn't work anymore. He's got to be mean. But I don't know if that's really not Tom Aspinall's style. I mean, the guy is a gentleman. He is as classy as they come. So I don't think he's going to do that. But that's what he's got to do. I think it can't just be the win. I think he's got to rock the mic a little bit and spit a little venom.
That'd be amazing. Also, friend of the show, Tom Aspinall, but minus 400 is tough to bet with those kind of odds. Sean O'Malley's got a fight coming up to defend his belt. Inside the Sphere, Dana White said it's the most expensive UFC spectacle he's ever going to put on. Right now, Merab, his opponent, is actually a slight favorite. You're going to fight me if I say by the time that fight comes around, Sean O'Malley's going to be the favorite.
I think Merab's going to stay the favorite because I feel like he's the sharp pick on everybody. I feel like because he has been so dominant, he's been such a great grappler. I think it's going to be tough to get to the point where he's plus money. But I do think it's going to be pretty close. I think it's going to be pretty close by the time that we get there because Sean is so popular. But it's going to be – it's a tough ask to say like people are going to look at how good and how dominant the machine has been and then all of a sudden be like, oh, Sean O'Malley is, we're going to just overlook all that domination and think, oh, the popularity of Sean O'Malley is going to flip that. I can't see that.
I hear what you're saying. And the Machine is a great nickname, one of the best in the UFC. And O'Malley, definitely, it seems like when fights are close, he kind of gets the Dana White privilege where you look at and you go, okay, that's why he ended up winning that fight. Maybe that's a little bit unfair. Don't forget, though, BT, it wasn't that long ago. Merab, when he fought Piotr Jan, what are we talking about? A calendar year ago, maybe a year and a half? Merab was a 3-1 underdog in that fight.
Yeah,
so
stupid.
Even though you and I have been talking about him for a long time, and we thought those odds are way off, and we all made a lot of money that night, Merab's kind of just now getting to the party. Like, I look at Sean O'Malley's octagon experience really against bigger fighters than Merab has fought. I mean, you did knock out Aljo. You did beat Piotr Jan. You have started to add to your resume where not only do I think O'Malley should be favored when that fight comes around, if he's an underdog, I'm going to empty the piggy bank on the Sugar Show.
I mean, I don't know if I agree that
he's fine. You love Merab.
I don't know if I agree. Like, first of all, I mean, like, yeah, look, he beat Al. Like, yeah, Sean had a great performance against Aljo. We know Merab and Aljo are never going to fight, so that's a tough one. But if like we're going to go Piotr Jan, like if we just MMA math it, like Sean eked out a win over Piotr Jan, and Merab dish-ragged him for 5 rounds. I mean, it was one of the more dominant performances we've seen over the last couple of years. The Cejudo fight wasn't very close. He beat Jose Aldo. I don't know, man. I just think that this is a guy who's definitely tuned up for it. But look, it's not to say I don't look at Sean as like your typical striker who stinks at takedown defense. I think that he's very hard to get your hands on. He's very lanky. He's very fast. Merab's just been a different animal when it comes to that type of stuff. I mean, because if he can't, he's going to get picked apart. There's a huge size discrepancy. He's 5'6". I mean, he's way more built for this division than Sean O'Malley is. So, there could be, it could be one of those where Sean O'Malley tactfully just stays on the outside and doesn't allow himself to get taken down. Maybe we see fewer kicks than we typically do from Sean, so he doesn't get taken down.
Be honest with me, BT. Who's your favorite machine? Be real with me.
You, buddy.
Who's your favorite guy?
You, buddy.
Thanks, dude. Okay, I appreciate that. Although it sounds like you got a little love.
I did enjoy our interview. When we had Merab, I don't know if you made that one, but when we had him on the show, he was a delight. I did think he was a great guy.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me that you wouldn't let me in on the Merab interview. You wouldn't let me in on the Cody Garbrandt interview. I don't know why you do that sometimes, but so the love's right back at you. One guy that I know you don't love is Jake Paul. He knocked out Mike Perry. You've been very vocal about the fact that Mike Tyson should not be getting in a fight with Jake Paul. Are you going to fight me if I say I think the public's coming around to that? Like after the Mike Perry fight, when he said, Mike Tyson, you're next, there was a lot of pushback. It's like, come on, Jake Paul. Isn't there somebody else you can fight?
Yeah, I mean, he put a beat down on Mike Perry. It was really, really bad. And I honestly got to tell you, I think it's been really unbecoming how much whining there's been from the MMA audience and fighters about, oh, well, now he's a weight bully. Now he's picking on guys way smaller than him. Like, he hasn't changed anything. He's been doing the same thing, and he obliterated Mike Perry. But look, said this, Jake Paul is not as bad as everybody thought that he was going to be. He's not good, but he's not an embarrassment. And he is still 215, 220 pounds of muscle, who's very, very strong. And I think that's a bad idea to put in a ring with a guy who's pushing 60. I think it's a stupid thing to do.
I think he's an age bully, and I don't really see how you could argue that. Like, if you look at all the fighters that he's fought, he wasn't fighting Mike Perry in his prime. He wasn't fighting Ben Askren in his prime. Tyron Woodley was 6 years removed from the title. Mike Tyson's damn near 60 years old. The only guy that I could, Nate Robinson's looking for a kidney, and I'm not trying to be funny when I say that. Legitimately, like, the one guy that he fought that's an actual active fighter in his prime is the guy that's not Tommy Fury, whatever it is, Tyson Tommy Fury, whatever that guy's name is.
It is Tommy
so
Fury.
Again, like Tommy Fury, that's it. So he's an age bully, is what he is.
All right, but
he's
like,
ageist.
Yeah,
he beats up old
fine.
People. That's not right.
Okay, now he beats up old people, but like, you know, you got to admit, like he put a hurting on Mike Perry, like that was not. That wasn't even close. Like that was not like because he's had some stinkers. Like the Nate Diaz fight wasn't very good. The Tyron Woodley fights weren't very good. He had a great knockout in the second fight, Tyron Woodley, but they weren't very entertaining fights. This dude obliterated Mike Perry from the moment round one opened. He kicked his ass.
I'm gonna fight you on that one. I love the Nate Diaz fight because I thought that Nate Diaz was gonna get knocked out in the first round, and he didn't. And then he kept it wasn't the best fight of all time, but the fact that it went to the cards was pretty cool. All right. Canelo has another fight lined up against Edgar Berlanga? Huh? You're going to fight me if I say, at this point in his career, Canelo is be fighting the big names like, I don't know, Bud Crawford?
Not going to fight you. The Berlanga fight, you know, it's basically just the Jaime Munguia fight. You know, like he's just doing it. He's doing the same thing. Young guy, 23-0, Mexico versus Puerto Rico on Mexico. I got to tell you, I think Canelo's going to be laying on the couch again, waiting for the UFC to end because they're going head-to-head with the Sphere night. And we all remember when he fought Kovalev, how he was sitting there looking like he was Netflix and chilling in the back, waiting for Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz. I think that's the same thing that's going to happen here, dude. I do. And by the way, they're going to do it in the same city, so going to be a fascinating fight week in Sin City on the second Saturday of September. But yeah, the Berlanga fight does nothing for him. It's not. And look, this is nothing against Edgar Berlanga. He is a nice young fighter. Canelo's above this, you know. Like for me, it's like we have two opponents who everybody really wants you to see you fight: Terrence Crawford, David Benavidez, and there's no good reason why the fights aren't selected. There's just not. And I just think that for Canelo Alvarez, who commands the price tag that he does, and you know, the fans, you're asking the fans to fork over their money, like give them the fights they want to see. No one's asking you to go fight. No, just saying, nobody's asking him to go fight Bivol again. It's fine. We get it. That was maybe a bad matchup for him. David Benavidez, fun stylistic fight. Terrence Crawford, all-time crossover pound for pound fight. Edgar Berlanga, like what? Who cares?
Yeah, clearly he doesn't want a piece of Bivol again. Although, again, that's what you have to, like, with Ryan Garcia, say what you will, it's easy to talk smack on that guy. He can't even fight for a while. However, he does like the big fights. He's 25 years old, and he's lining up the biggest possible guys he can. So you do got to respect that about him. I'm a big Olympic guy. I've been watching the Olympics the last couple of days, and, dude, there are some weird sports in there. Like, I didn't know that slalom paddle racing was a thing. I knew that it was skiing, but yeah, you look as confused as I did when I was watching it. It's essentially like a canoe going through a course. Anyway, you're going to fight me if I say, if we're going to have sports like that in breakdancing, it's time for mixed martial arts to be an Olympic sport.
I would love that. I think it's tough because there's so many bases of mixed martial arts like judo and boxing that are in it, and wrestling. So I just think it's tough to say, hey, let's blend them all together. I would love it. I don't know how they would do it, but I would definitely love it because I do think we're getting at an age where like people are doing this younger, and they do amateur mixed martial arts. Like I don't know if you've ever been to a show, but you wear leg guards. It's a little bit different. So I would love it. I think it would be a lot of fun to do that. Certainly. But I watched one today. Air shooting. Have you ever watched this? Air shooting.
Come again? What?
Air shooting. So like,
no, I'm interested.
I always picture like shooting is, hey, you have a rifle, you got to hit some targets. But I'm watching these people, and they look like stormtroopers mixed with like Legos of like the gun that they have, and then It doesn't even sound like a gun. I'm like, this is a sport. You get a gold. The same person, this person gets the same medal that Usain Bolt does for being fastest person in the world.
And it sounds disrespectful when you say that, but honestly, I look at some of these sports in the same way, and I'm like, who really cares who's the best in the world at this? And frankly, how many people even compete at said sport? And like, it's not just the summers. I like curling. It's cool. You use a broom and you can be completely out of shape. That is not an Olympic sport. I digress. Coming up on the other side, we talk about the UFC Spear Show, O'Malley versus Marab. It's a pretty good card up and down. And maybe we talk about Tua for a second. Your guy got paid. Appreciate you checking us out right here on the BetQL Network.